Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, everybody. We've got a winter wonderland here at Hoar Farm this morning. Really unusual piece of weather. Clear blue skies above, and there's something called a hoar frost or a white frost here this morning. And I'm just by one of the horses' fences, and I've got some barbed wire in front of me, and it's absolutely covered in ice crystals. The air coming in off the Atlantic is still quite moist, and so that with the minus temperatures, it's frozen. There's an electric fence wire the other side of this post, and it's amazing. It's about 3 centimeters across and covered in ice crystals. I'm just going to turn around and look at these trees behind me. We've got young beech trees here. I planted a whole avenue in 1974, and they're really coming along nicely, quite close together inside the wood. Oak leaves falling all around me. This tree is getting on for 50 years old. A young oak, it's about 10 inches through the trunk. I've taken the bottom branches off. It's close to some other trees. Leaf just went on the camera lens for a second, and the leaves are cascading down. It's that time of year, and it's just a wonderful sight to see the last of the leaves coming off the trees, just falling like confetti all around me. Just such a lovely sight. Then next to this, we've got a young Scots pine. You can see the coniferous trees grow much faster and taller, so we're using those as a nurse tree for these young oak trees, and the beech trees spreading away down this woodland ride in front of me. But I'm just going to take you for a little walk and see what we can see and enjoy in this coldest season of the year, coming up to the shortest day. Just look at this. This is a bramble, and it's nearly lost all its leaves, and it is just so spectacular. The beauty of the ice crystals here right in front of the camera is quite astonishing. Yes, just amazing sight what winter can do, especially backlit by the sun. It's a thistle there, and then this is a hemlock plant here, and I'm being cascaded with beech leaves from under this young beech. But we're just going to walk down the front of the wood. I added this area of woodland, as I said, in 1974, so that's coming along nicely. They say you don't plant trees for your own generation, you plant it for the next. And because predecessors here at Hoar Farm were very keen on tree planting, and I've just come down to the bottom of a valley here, and I'm looking down along the front of the woodland because, wood pigeon just flying out of the trees in front of me. And you can see this fantastic trees. This is a Douglas fir in front of me, towering up to the blue sky. Again, a lovely sight, and just covered with that white hoar frost, we call it. And you can see many of the trees here at the farm. Lots of questions come in on BBC Radio Norfolk. Why have we got all these birds here and the insects during the summer months? And this is one of the answers. There's an old snapped off larch tree beside me, and it's just covered with ivy, and during late summer it was in flower, providing late summer nectar, autumn nectar for our overwintering butterflies. And now at this time of the year it produces a huge, and I mean huge, crop of jet black ivy berries. We'll just get up close with the camera, down on my hands and knees in the frost. Just amazing. There must be 50 kilos plus just on this shrub alone, the ivy here. The leaves are not like normal ivy leaves, because on the flowering shoots the leaves are lance shaped, whereas normal ivy leaves on climbing parts of the ivy have 2 or 3 or 4 spikes on them, and so a completely different shape. So here we are, excellent food. So we'll have fieldfare, redwing feeding on this, and lovely little sandy bank here with all sorts of different flowers. There's Rat in the background, he's ferreting away. Some hawthorn there, beech in the background, yet one of those young beech trees, still with the few leaves on, shedding them as fast as we can. Then we come to one of the delights of winter, which is brilliant for many of the tit species here. This is a larch in front of me. The farm's quite famous for its larch trees. They seem to grow really, really well here. This one's about 18 inches through the trunk at the base, and then it goes up, and like typical larch, it bends over at the top and highlighted against the blue sky. There's still some needles left on, so although larch is a conifer, it's a deciduous conifer, Larix decidua. So it actually loses all those lovely golden needles in the next week or so. They'll all be off, and you'll have a bare conifer tree still bearing all the cones. I can see masses of cones right out in the centre of the tree there. So really, really good tree. So native, you see them, lots of them growing in Scotland. There was a Scottish duke up, I think it was in Arcaig in Scotland, and he became besotted with larch trees, so he ordered some of the workers on the estate to load cannon shells made of wood with larch seeds, and he fired them up into the mountains, which are inaccessible, and the cannon's shells exploded on the mountainside and managed to populate sort of almost sheer precipices up in the Scottish Highlands there. So amazing, and I love them as well. Here's some more of those lovely young beech trees there. They're about, 30 feet tall now. Beautiful backdrop, and remember, we're on quite fertile soil. We're down in the valley, and this whole belt, which is about over a quarter of a mile long, was planted here for shooting purposes, because behind me you can just see through to the other side of the woodland. The ground rises, and so pheasants and partridges were driven right. Oh, there's a jay! Wow! Right in one of these young larch trees, just feeding away there. I can just see his bottom. He doesn't seem very concerned about me. I think rats been barking there. So one of our woodland species that are responsible for planting lots of the young oak trees out on our successional woodland. They're very not bothered at all about me being here. And then we'll just move on a little bit. More Douglas fir, towering way up. That's over 30 metres, that one. That's 100 feet. Yes, plus. Then some wonderful mature beech trees. And so in, I think it's about 30 odd years ago plus, some of the beech came down and cleared this area of woodland. It looked very sad to start with, but then there's no cloud without a silver lining sometimes, and I use this bare area to replant, and it's really rewarding. I just love this part of the farm, and on these south-facing banks you'll have violets coming out into flower in about a month's time. But the mature beech trees are just absolutely stunning. They're breathtaking. So all our deciduous trees lose their leaves at this time of the year just to cope with this sort of weather. The hoar frosts often precede a heavy snowfall as the temperatures drop, particularly if you've got high pressure up in the polar region, and then you have these ice cold winds coming down. But these beech are astronomical. I'm holding the camera up above my head almost at right angles. Some of them have ivy on going up to near the crown, and they managed to stand here very proud and tall, and the hoarfrost is right up to the top of the trees. Just such an amazing sight. So lots of other tree species here, many of them now lost their leaves. Another giant larch, gunrod straight, absolutely straight up to the sky. Again, well over 30 metres, that one, which is about as high as larch get in this part of the world. Often the tops get blown out when you get the strong winds. A beech tree and a little bit more sheltered area just behind the larch, and a fantastic sweet chestnut tree as well. And the leaves are just cascading down. Just get us a little bit closer. You often associate autumn with leaf fall. In fact, the American name for it is fall. And this is just glorious. I'm just going to walk through the brambles on the edge of the wood. Good place for woodcock here. So, oh, and it's just a waterfall of leaves coming down in front of me, being caught by the sun. Oh, it's just absolutely glorious. Hundreds of leaves a minute coming off the tree, some of them landing close to me. Yeah, oh, it's just such a wonderful, it makes you really glad to be alive. And a robin just right down on the ground there in front of the camera, only a few feet away from me, just foraging away. But it's just a waterfall of leaves, just one of the glorious sights out in the Norfolk countryside at this time of the year. Look at that, just amazing. I'm going to stand underneath, and almost like confetti coming down. No breeze at all. And we just point the camera up in the tree, and here they come. Lovely little sound as they land on the frosty ground all around me. That's winter for you.